Welcome in, everyone, to the Talking Kentucky post-game show. My name is Coleman Scott. His name is Brad Harvey, joining me from College Sportscast as we're here to talk about yet another disappointing loss from the Kentucky Wildcats to the hands of the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee has won 36 of the last 39 against Kentucky, and it's something that none of us are surprised by anymore. And I sort of found myself tonight not really being affected that much by the loss because I don't want to say I'm apathetic, but I've just come to expect it, Brad. It seems like these losses to Tennessee are just routine at this point, and not only losses to Tennessee, but heartbreaking losses, gut-wrenching losses that are avoidable, that could have easily been won. They're games that are sort of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, to use Kentucky football terminology. And it's just disappointing, Brad. But again, doesn't really faze me at this point.
Well, I never liked getting beat by Tennessee ever. You said 36 out of 39. Well, I'm 49. That's almost all my life, to be quite honest with you. And I grew up going to some Tennessee, Kentucky football games in the 80s with my dad. Really became fiery, passionate that I didn't like Tennessee through all of that. So I'm not going to sit here, Coleman, and act like losing to Tennessee doesn't bother me, because it does.
It certainly does me too.
But what I will say is this. I thought that the game plan tonight and the way that Kentucky played, quite honestly, was probably a little better than what I expected. Devin Leary was fantastic tonight. Devin Leary absolutely outplayed Joe Milton. Look at the stats. If you don't believe me, he had like 227 yards passing, and Devin Leary had 372. Two TDs. Yep. Milton only had one. I mean, he absolutely outplayed Joe Milton tonight in every category, to be quite honest with you. And almost every Cat fan I have talked to over the last 2 weeks, because we were in a bye week last week, almost every single one of them was talking about how bad Devin Leary was. And I haven't said that one time. I think Devin Leary is a really good quarterback. I think he's had some struggle. I think that he's had some drops. I think that he's had some play calls that he had to adjust to, and they wasn't play calling for him and what works best for him. I thought they did that tonight some. They practiced on it in the bye week, and there was definitely some positives to look at in this game. However, the outcome sucks, and I'm not gonna, it is what it is, Coleman. The outcome sucks.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I wanted to start with Leary, because I think we do have to give credit where credit's due. And Leary played really well. And the receivers played really well.
He is snatching balls out of the air. Barry and Brown is snatching balls out of the air. I mean, we hit tight ends tonight 3 or 4 times.
Yep, we absolutely did.
I mean, we had drop downs to our backs out of the backfield. We had, we hit Tavion Robinson in slants and over the middle. I mean, we did everything. And offensively, I don't think, if you're a Kentucky fan, offensively, I don't think you can complain one bit on the way the offense looked tonight. We scored 27 points and was right there the entire night. We were never down more than 10, and that was in the first quarter. After the first quarter, we were never down more than 9.
Yep.
We cut it to 2. I mean, we had a 53-yard field goal that we missed to take a 1-point lead, and that was in the fourth quarter. Now, it was a 53-yarder. I mean, it was it was a shot, it was a chance, and Stoops took it. And I mean, honestly, I think 9 times out of 10, Stoops probably goes for it on 4th and 11 in that position. But
Yeah.
instead, he trotted out his field goal kicker, and he did attempt to make a 53-yard field goal, and that's not a move that Stoops does very often.
No, it's not. It's not. But and we're going to get into some of the decisions, coaching decisions and things that led to the sort of demise of this game. But back to giving where credit's due. Devin Leary was 28 of 39 for 373 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devin Leary played really well tonight, and I think we've
Fantastic.
waited for that. We've waited for Leary to play well, and he did play well tonight.
The
Dane
biggest thing
Key.
offensively is
Mhm.
the Tennessee's defense pretty much stymied Ray Davis tonight. Not
Yes,
just Ray Davis, but our running game.
they
Period.
did.
Yeah,
They absolutely did, and that's something that I expected going into the game, Brad, because Tennessee's front seven is one of their strengths,
it
and I
is
think that we
absolutely.
all knew that coming
So
into this
for
game.
Kentucky to be able to not only game plan but make those plays in the offense in passing, and to have the receiver step up, to have Leary step up, the tight end step up, the backs out of the backfield step up. I mean, honestly, you couldn't ask for a better performance, if you ask me, of the offense. Now, I will say this. There was a few play calls, and I'm going to put that on Cohen.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about this now or later, we can. But there was a few play calls that I didn't like and I didn't agree with.
Well, there absolutely was, and I want to get into that a little bit later.
Yeah,
But let's look at the receiving stats. Dane Key had 7 receptions for 113 yards. His longest was 34, and he had a
and a
touchdown.
touchdown,
And a touchdown. And
and a touchdown.
he, Dane Key, we've been on harping on Dane Key all season. He hasn't played well, but tonight he really did play well. He was grabbing everything that came his way tonight, and we need
I
to
mean,
give him
there were
credit.
some plays. I mean, he's stretching out and he's grabbing it. I mean, he played absolutely stellar.
He
Dane
did.
Key tonight.
He absolutely did.
I don't remember one single drop from Dane Key tonight. Not one.
And I don't either. I don't know that he did have one. And Kentucky fans have continuously been begging for tight ends, right, to get involved in the passing game. Jordan Dingle had 4 receptions for 61 yards tonight. Josh Caddis had 2 receptions for 35 yards tonight. We're starting to get the tight ends involved. Brad, you can blame a lot of things tonight, but I don't think you can blame the offense.
You absolutely cannot blame the offense at all. I mean,
Yeah.
the 27 points that we put up, we missed a 53-yarder. Granted, it was a 53-yarder. You're not going to hit too many 53-yarders to start with. But like I said, for them to trot him out is a big deal and a big call for Stoops, okay? So that is a chance for 30 points. And then we had one other time earlier in the game, and I think this was in the second quarter, where we got down there and could have had another chance at a 50-yard field goal. And instead, we went for it on 4th down and didn't get it and got stopped. So there's your 6 points. We had a chance at a 53-yarder and we had a chance at a 50. He didn't go for the 50, and he did go for the 53 trying to get the lead.
Yes, and that what stands out to me the most from this whole game is that he didn't go for that 50-yarder. And I think it was, I can't remember exactly what the play call was, Brad, but it was some kind of go route pass down the field.
It was
on that
covered,
3rd down.
and it was completely covered. It shouldn't have been thrown to start with. And you could tell as soon as the play started, it was designed to go there. They didn't look nowhere else. That's exactly what they were doing. And I really didn't like that play call at all on that 4th one.
I didn't either, because even if you don't get the 1st down, you can absolutely play to a field goal there. You got a guy that's comfortable from 55 in, he says, get
Yeah.
it to under a 50-yard field goal, get it to, 45, something like that. And, it's money for a guy who hadn't missed a field goal all season. And you could take the lead there, right? So that was a coaching decision tonight that didn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's why, we got a lot of people in the comments saying, well, I'm done with Stoops. Now, I'm not done with Stoops. I don't think this is on Stoops. And Stoops has gotten this program to heights that I never thought it would be. And so I still stand behind Stoops. But there were some coaching things tonight that did affect the outcome of this game. Absolutely.
I mean, listen, there's a couple of things on when we did go for the 53-yarder in the fourth quarter. On the first play of that drive, we ran a wildcat with Ray Davis and lost a yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that really perplexed me as well as Devin Leary.
But see, guys,
yeah,
these are not Stoops' call. That's not Stoops' call.
Yeah, that's Cohen. Uh-huh.
That's Cohen. That's Liam Cohen's call. And I don't agree with that. We were moving the ball. It's the fourth quarter. We're trying to take the lead. Leary is playing the best he's played in a Kentucky uniform.
Yep.
Period.
And absolutely, by far.
You don't take the ball out of his hands. I mean, if you want to hand the ball off to Ray Davis, that's a different story. I understand running the ball on first down. I just didn't like the wildcat. I mean, I know that we ran it 2 or 3 times. I know twice tonight. And I realized that that's a wrinkle they were trying to put in to throw Tennessee off in the run game. I realized that. I just don't think that was the time to do it.
No, I absolutely don't either. And it just doesn't, the wildcat, going back to that, as well as Devin Leary was playing, and as many tools as we probably have in our toolbox, as many things that were working offensively tonight, I don't know why you go wildcat there. We haven't run wildcat all season, have we? I mean, why choose that moment?
I think I remember seeing 1 or 2 plays in one of those small teams that we played early on where we ran wildcat maybe 1 or 2 times. And I know that we done it twice tonight with Davis. The first time he got like 3 yards, and the second time on that drive, we lost a yard on first down and wound up and missed 2 passes. So it was 4th and 11, and we trotted out and tried for a 53-yard field goal. Now, I think in that situation, I was really kind of proud of Stoops, at least in that situation, making the call to attempt to take the lead, because 9 times out of 10, he's just going to go for it there. And, if we don't get it, we don't get it.
Now, one thing Kentucky, going back to the giving credit where credit's due thing, Kentucky had 14 penalties against Missouri, right, for 122 yards. Tonight we had 4 penalties for 21 yards. We cleaned up the penalties significantly.
Listen, guys, the penalties was cleaned up. Now, there was one drive where we had 2 straight false starts early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That was early in the game. We had 2 straight false starts, and that was early in the game. And outside of that, we had 2 penalties the rest of the game. We also had 0 turnovers.
Yep.
Tonight. 0 turnovers. You can't. I'm telling you guys, if you are a fan, there are things about this game that you absolutely cannot be upset with. Now, we really have not gotten to a couple of things that I am going to talk about, because we've been talking about the offensive side of the ball, and we really haven't got to a couple of things. So I will.
And John is he's sort of bringing that up in the comments here, saying Tennessee is still running on us. And we knew that's what was coming, because they haven't had success through the air really this season, not like they thought they would, at least. And they've really been a run-heavy offense this year, and that was not what Tennessee fans were expecting coming into the year. But we couldn't stop the run. I mean, what's the kid's name? That number 6 kid that kept running all over us. What was his last name?
Well, one of them was right. One of them
Trying to
was
forget.
One of them was right. One of them was
So it started with an S.
small,
Saunders, something like that. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember.
But
Anyways,
we couldn't
there
stop.
were 2 kids. They ran for over 200 yards. You had the stats up. They ran for over 200 yards on us.
Well, that's something that I thought earlier in the year, that was a big strength of Kentucky's defense. I thought the concern of Kentucky's defense earlier in this year was the secondary, obviously. And I was sort of like, good luck anybody that's going to try to run the ball on the Cats this year. And that's just sort of, not been the story the past few games, right?
I honestly don't think the secondary killed us tonight, other than that one play that was a broken play where the defender fell down, tripped and fell down, and they threw it and got an easy touchdown. That's the only touchdown they got passing all night long. And that's because the defender tripped and fell down.
He just tripped, yeah. And that's kind of a fluky thing, honestly. I mean, it sucks, but it's a fluky thing.
I mean, sometimes that kind of crap, I'm going to say crap, that kind of crap happens. I mean, it happens. Yeah. I'm not saying that you can help that. There was one play where the defender fell down, tripped and fell down, and they just had an easy pass and catch, 40, 50-yard pass, whatever it was, and got an easy touchdown. And outside of that, I mean, honestly, I thought passing defense, we did really well tonight. It was the running. We gave up 200, and I'm going to guess about 220 yards rushing tonight by the time the game was over.
254. Yeah.
254. Okay.
Yep.
That is 100 yards way too damn much. 150 yards is a lot to give up.
Yep. And John brings up this, and we were talking about this at the beginning of the show, John. I've been critical of Leary this year. You can't blame him tonight. Dude played his ass off. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. I mean, got to give credit.
There's a lot of good things. And if you're a Kentucky fan and you're going off, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with you. I don't think that that's the right way to do this. I mean, we have wanted to compete with games like this I know I have all my life.
Yep.
All my life.
And,
so many times that we would line up against teams like Tennessee and Florida and Georgia, and we would get boat
raced. Yeah.
We would get boat raced.
Uh-huh.
Every time we would line up against them. And I will never, ever forget that.
Right.
A night like tonight, where on the offensive side of the ball, we look good against a good Tennessee team and a good Tennessee defense.
Yep.
I hate to tell these people, but Tennessee has a good defense.
They have a really good defense. I don't feel like people are talking about that enough this year. Tennessee is really good.
Their front seven, they have a really, really good defense.
Uh-huh.
And for us to look that way is I mean, it's something that I will take with me. I'm not saying that it is that we should be okay with a loss. I freaking hate Tennessee, guys.
Yes.
Like, I hate Tennessee. Y'all have no idea how bad I hate Tennessee.
Yeah.
And my thing is this. We are finally competing most of the time. Now, the Georgia game, I was a little more upset this time because we got freaking boat raced.
Well, that's why, against Georgia and against Missouri, I feel like we did get boat raced, and it was a lot easier to be frustrated. That's why, I'm frustrated that we lost, but I'm not as mad because I feel like we played really well. And I mean, against Florida, Brad, obviously we played really well offensively, but I think tonight, weirdly, may have been the best offensive performance we've seen from this team.
I think, listen, I know we beat Florida by 19, scored 33 on them, And we only scored 27 tonight against Tennessee. But I mean, we had 329 rushing yards against Florida. Had like 69 yards passing or something crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tonight we had 373, I think, yards passing. And I know we had 50 or 70 or something rushing. We didn't have a whole lot. But I think tonight's performance offensively is better.
We had 445 yards of total offense tonight. And you look at the stats,
Absolutely.
Brad.
John Cornett here says 27 would have been enough with defensive help.
Absolutely. Yeah, completely agree.
100%.
Yep.
100%, John. This falls on Brad White and his defense.
Well, and we're going to kind of start to segue into that now. Brad, I didn't get the chance to look at your keys to the game this week, but I put out a little reel.
I watched it last night.
Yeah, I put out a little reel. I'm trying to remember what I said here. I think number one was Devin Leary gotta start connecting with these receivers. Okay, check. He did that. Number two was Kentucky's got to clean up the penalties. Okay, check. We did that. And thirdly was Kentucky's got to play for 4 quarters. Now, I honestly Tennessee came out strong. We had a bad start, but outside of that, Brad, I felt like at least on the offensive side of the ball, I think we played a pretty complete game.
We did have a bad start. So the first quarter we had 2 3-and-outs. And outside of that, offensively, we played really, really well.
So we really did check all 3 of those boxes, and then we won the time of possession 32-59 to 27-01. And again, we gave up a lot of rushing yards, but really that's the only red flag. Like Tennessee had 9 penalties for 70 yards. You look at the box score and you don't look at the final score, and you say, there's a pretty good chance Kentucky wins this game. And that is...
Yeah, we did have the chance to win this game.
Yeah, that is a repeated, refrain for Kentucky football.
Listen, we've been sitting and thinking about this game for 2 weeks, okay? Because we had a bye week. So we've been sitting and contemplating and thinking about this game for 2 weeks. And I'm here to tell you, for 2 weeks, and I haven't said this because I talked to a lot of you guys in some chats, and I try to keep my comments and stuff mostly to some shows, to my show, College Sportscast, or on this show with Coleman and Talking Kentucky Postgame show. So I try to keep a lot of my comments like that. But for 2 weeks, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really think that we would have a whole lot of chance in this game, to be honest. The way that we had been playing offensively, I just didn't see that we would be able to keep up with them and score enough. And tonight actually showed me that this team can play offensively.
Yeah.
Now, we got to clean up. Brad White's got to figure out what is going on with his defense.
So let's get into that.
Because the Georgia game, they scored on every possession. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Missouri 2 weeks ago, minus the first quarter where we were up 14-0. They scored on 7 of their last 8 possessions.
Yep.
And then tonight, Tennessee scored on their first 5 possessions in the first half. Now, they only scored 10 points in the second half. And I think if you look at the second half alone, we did play a little bit better in the second half defensively than we did the first half.
Yeah.
I think. Because it was 23-17 at halftime, and after half, it was 10-10.
I just didn't see this coming at all. Brad White's defenses have played just
Really
unbelievably
well.
well historically, and even the first half of the season, against Vandy in Florida, like we basically shut Florida out. Like, I mean, that could have been a shutout. Their two touchdowns were kind of fluky, just like Florida's quarterback just
I mean,
Graham Mertz,
Tennessee
kind of
put
almost.
Tennessee puts a lot of pressure on you, and by that I
Yeah,
mean this: in Florida game, we put a lot of 8 men in the box.
yep.
They only had they
Well,
only had they only had one good receiver, Pearsall, I think is his name, and
yeah,
they
he's
don't.
the
And
only
and
good
and,
receiver.
and, and Graham Mertz is not going to kill you. Joe Milton and Josh Heupel and his offense can kill you. To be quite honest,
Well,
pretty quick.
they can, but
So,
what's
so
concerning and
tonight,
surprising,
so
where I'm going
tonight,
with
if you
that.
look at the game, there
Uh-huh.
was a whole lot of 6 and 7 in the box where
Yeah.
we played 8 against Florida. So maybe that is what plays into us looking as bad as we did against the run tonight. I don't know. I'm just
Well,
trying to
but
explain it to people.
it's so, but to go out from shutting out a team to then the very next week, I know it's Georgia, but you give up 50, then you give up over 40 to Missouri, and then you give up over 30 to Tennessee tonight. It's like Brad White is a defensive coordinator that didn't let anybody score over 30 on him in like 2
Last year,
years.
I know. Last year nobody did, and I think the year before that only one did.
And now it's happened 3 weeks
And
in a
that was
row.
Georgia on a 30-13 or 31-13
Yeah.
regime.
Yeah, we're talking against, like, Georgia, right? So, like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't it's very surprising and it's very concerning that if you told me going into this game that the defense was gonna lose us the game, it's just hard to believe, right? Like, that the offense would play more than well enough for us to win, and that it would be the defense that would let this one slip away. It's just like, man, are you serious? Like, sucks.
I agree, man. Like
Um,
it was the fact that their running backs were making us miss.
yeah, and we couldn't bring anybody down. Like, all the missed tackles, man, were just
That's what I'm saying. They were making us miss. And
insane.
I mean, the two big plays that they had offensively, and when you're playing against Tennessee, I mean, Tennessee can have 8 big plays. I only remember 2. One of
Yep,
them was a 52-yard running play that we whiffed on a tackle
yep,
that should have happened. We completely, Zion Childers, I'm going to call you out, absolutely whiffed on a tackle. All right. Number
yep.
11 whiffed on a tackle, and they get a 52-yard touchdown. And then the other one is, I think, the freshman Robinson trips. Jordan
Yeah,
Robinson, who is a
and that's
cornerback, trips
fluky.
and falls trying to cover a guy, and they get a wide open. I mean, the two big plays that they had outside of that, guys, they kicked 4 field goals.
Yeah, and one of them, it hit the upright and bounced in,
Yeah,
fluky,
yeah.
sucks. And then the other one, we haven't talked about this yet, Brad. That catch that they ruled a catch that wasn't a catch. That gave them the 3
Man,
points before half. That ended up being a big thing in this game. Ended up making a difference.
absolutely. If you want to get into this, here's what I'm going to say about it.
Yep.
If replay cannot overturn a play like that, where a guy is clearly out of bounds when he gains control of the ball, and by clearly, I want to say this. When I say clearly, he grabs the ball, it bobbles, and he goes back, and you have to have possession of the ball, okay? So it kind of goes through his hand. He grabs it, it bobbles just a little bit. And by the time he does that, he is over a step. He is at least to 4 feet out of bounds.
His
By
left
the
foot
time
was on Alumni Drive. Yep.
by the time he actually gained control of the ball, he was at least 3 or 4 feet out of bounds. If a replay cannot overturn that, there is no reason to have replay. Just take it out
Yeah.
of the damn game.
Yeah. It was unbelievably frustrating. Like I said, that 3 points ended up making a big difference. And then the one in the second half that bounced in, right?
I mean,
It's a
what
tie
kills me
ball
about
game if you don't have
this
those.
is the announcers, and they always have their official up there, and when they were replaying this, they're saying, well, there's not enough evidence to overturn this. What? If replay can't overturn that, when he is 3.5, 4 feet out of bounds, when he gains control of the ball, then the hell with replay. We don't need it.
I thought there was more than enough evidence to overturn it. I know they called it a catch on the field, but to me, that is significant enough evidence to overturn it.
I mean, that's ridiculous. That call was absolutely ridiculous, and it cost us 3 points.
Corey Price, somebody we've had on this show multiple times, he says Devin Leary is just the third Kentucky quarterback since 2002 to pass for at least 300 yards against Tennessee. The other two were Andre Woodson and Will Levis. Kentucky has allowed at least 33 points in 3 consecutive games for the 4th time in the Mark Stoops era and the first time since 2020. Tennessee has scored at least 33 points in 3 consecutive games against Kentucky for the first time since 2014 to 2016. And this is Kentucky's 11th loss to Tennessee by 6 points or less since 1987, which tells you just how many gut-wrenching, heartbreaking losses we've had in this series.
Yep.
So,
I mean, we had one 2 years ago with Levis.
we did.
That was a 6 or 7 point game.
And I think that game was the only bad defensive game we had all season that year.
Yeah.
Every other
they beat us 44-37 or something like that. It was a 6 or 7
I
point
think
game.
it was 44-42 or something. It was real close.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I think
it was within 7 points. I know that.
So hey guys, we're gonna take some calls, but I know everybody's frustrated, but let's keep it clean. Okay, I know we're not on radio technically, but there's other ways to express your frustration other than profanity. So don't.
I might have said damn. So other than that, I think
Other than that, we're good. But don't stoop to the level of Tennessee fans and just blah 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 blah. And we're already getting a call from Clyde Hare before I even put the phone number up on the screen. But hey, Clyde, how's it going, man?
It's not going.
I feel you. I know. I'm frustrated as anybody.
I tell you, this is just horrible. And I told you, and you said it yourself, bye weeks is the worst thing for Kentucky football, and it continues to show year in and year out.
And the weird thing is, though, I feel like we were actually better in a lot of ways coming out of the bye week, but we still lose. We weren't better defensively is the problem. No. We fixed everything else, but the defense is still a major concern, which is disappointing and not something that I expected from this team.
Yeah, I give Leary a pass. I give him a pass. I thought he played a very good football game. I was very happy with the way he played. According to Corey Price's stats, like he threw 300 yards. He played a really good game. Like he played about as good as any quarterback can play against Tennessee. And I'm really, really proud of Leary. Like I have nothing bad to say. Normally I do, but no, I don't. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I wasn't mad at the offense at all tonight. It was the defense which was making me mad. And Brad White just everything about the defense just made me so mad tonight. It really did.
It's the most puzzling thing, Brad, that I think exists about this season is how has the defense just gone so completely downhill? Well, I mean, the defense has taken a complete 180 from the first half of the year, in my opinion. So,
I mean, we have, completely. I mean, the defense tonight, like you said, gave up 254 yards rushing. That just simply can't have.
yeah,
That's entirely way too many to give up.
yeah. Well, you got anything else, Clyde?
No, I don't. And I will. Hopefully, things are better next week. Because if not, well, then we won't win another football game the rest of the year.
Well, I know that that's on the table, and that's something that everybody's thinking about, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But man, we appreciate the call. Appreciate you watching the show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Clyde.
502-234-1504. Give us a shout. And Brad,
So, John,
going against Mississippi. What were we going to say there? Sorry.
I was going to say, so John Cornett here says season's not over. We can beat Mississippi State and South Carolina. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I think we should beat Louisville too. If we can win those and be 8-4, I still say this is probably a successful season off of last year's 7-6 because we lost the bowl game.
Yeah.
So, if we can go 8-4 and go to a bowl and maybe win the bowl game, then this is definitely a successful season from last year, in my opinion.
Right. And we talk about the rest of the season here. We face Mississippi State next week. They've had to go to their backup quarterback, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is Mike Wright.
Is Vandy's old quarterback. Yeah.
Vandy's old quarterback, who is a scrambling quarterback who, as we saw tonight, Brad, we struggle against those, not just this season, but historically.
Yeah.
And we don't win in Starkville. So, I mean, we haven't won in like 10 years in Starkville. So that's concerning as well.
This Mississippi State team's bad. Like, they're really bad.
They are. But I feel like we just forget how to play football in Starkville sometimes.
But guys, if we can take even 80% of this offense to Starkville, I mean, this Mississippi State team is bad. I mean, I just don't see it.
I don't know. It's not like this Tennessee offense is bad. Our defense played bad, but I feel like even if our defense doesn't play up to its standard, we can still win that game, Brad. Especially if the offense plays.
Listen, guys, it absolutely sucks losing 3 games in a row. I mean, sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we got Georgia, Missouri, and now Tennessee. It absolutely sucks losing 3 games in a row. I'm not even going to sit here and act like it doesn't. It even sucks worse to me because the last of the 3 is against Tennessee. Yeah. I told Coleman before the show started, if we were across the street playing marbles and Tennessee and Kentucky were playing marbles, I would hate Tennessee. Like, I don't give a crap what we're playing. We could be playing pickup sticks or marbles or whatever. I mean, I want to beat them in anything. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, pickup sticks and marbles. Yeah, fiddlesticks, some might say.
I'm serious.
John says, I'm not saying it, but many fans are saying Stoops has hit his ceiling. Thoughts? John, like...
So the recruiting class that we have coming in on the defensive side of the ball, I think is possibly the best recruiting class that we've ever had under Stoops.
Yeah.
Especially the defensive side of the ball. If we can continue to recruit at that kind of level, we're close to top 20 level. And I think that we might be able to get to a top 20 level before this recruiting class ends. And we hit a top 15 a couple of years ago. So I am not on board saying that we have absolutely hit the ceiling.
Mm-mm.
The reason why I say this is this. If the recruiting, because we lose 3 in a row instead of, and we start losing some of these recruits and we can't finish the deal here, then maybe maybe Stoops has hit his ceiling. Because if these losses pile up and the recruiting starts to see that, then maybe he has. But if we can finish this season fairly strong, keep our recruiting class together, and make it a top 20 class where I think it was going before this swoon, let's call it a swoon, 3-game swoon, then I think that Stoops absolutely has not hit his ceiling. It's going to depend on what happens to finish this year and how December goes in January with early signing class and things like that.
Yeah, I don't think Stoops has hit his ceiling either. He's just got to have all the right pieces together in 1 year. A lot of people thought that would be this year. But outside of tonight, Leary has been a disappointment. And that's why we weren't able to compete against Georgia, and that's why we kind of folded against Missouri, to be honest with you.
I'm going to tell you guys, the front 7 that he has in this class that's coming in right now is spectacular. For Kentucky recruiting, like the guys he has coming in, like they're dudes.
Yeah.
Like the coaches like to say.
So you just have to hit all the pieces at the right time. You have to get a quarterback that can come in, and I think I brought this up on these post-game shows before, Brad, of Kentucky has not had in the Mark Stoops era a quarterback that's thrown for 2,000 yards in the season.
3,000
or 3,000 yards in the season.
Yeah.
And
he has,
like, that's a big reason why this program hasn't taken a step forward. And that's why Stoops said in his Monday press conference, we could run the ball even more than we do, and we might have a better chance to win. But in order for this program to move forward, we got to throw the ball in order to get, like you said, Brad, some of those recruits that have better receivers and continue to have good quarterbacks.
You take a game like tonight, even though we lost, you take a game like tonight, and you're one of these receivers, and you're one of these kids out there, like you can really see, okay, this is the direction that Kentucky's wanting to go, and they look really good, and they're passing it all over the field against a good defense. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
that speaks volumes on the recruiting side, even in a loss, because we threw for almost 400 yards, 373 yards tonight.
Yeah.
John, absolutely. Deion Walker is a pro. He'll be there. He's not going to be there next year because he's got one more year for that 3 years. We got one more year with him.
Yep.
So come back, Deion Walker, because we need you.
Please. That would be awesome. But hey, guys, give us a shout. 502-234-1504. We'd love to hear from you on the game, your thoughts moving forward, and even if you want to talk Kentucky basketball, we'll even talk some Kentucky basketball with you if you want. Maybe
I'll come in and talk some Kentucky basketball. I'd like to do some TK's takes with y'all. That'd be all right.
Jeremy Webb says that's all on Stoops. He is recruiting his players that he wants. He is the coach. Bottom line, he's trying to get the best players he can in here. Certainly, and Stoops is a defensive coach, at heart. That's how he wants to win ball games, is shutting the other team down. That's why these past 3 weeks have been just such a head scratcher, really, in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the offensive coordinator we had last year, nobody would want to come in here and play with that.
Right. And a lot of guys would have
left. And Cohen runs an offense that people's going to like. So you have to give him, y'all have to remember, he's only been here back a half a year. I mean, so, you have to give him a little bit of time to get some guys in here. I think that with a game like tonight, it will be attractive to recruits again. Now, we can't look like we have the last 3 weeks before tonight.
No. But I feel pretty good about definitively saying that Coleman's going to stick around for at least a few years.
I say at least 2 more years after this year.
Yeah, I'd say at least 2 more because, I mean, Stoops wouldn't have agreed to sort of let him come back if it was just gonna be another 1 year kinda deal, I don't think. I think they've got something happening to have a long-term kinda plan here.
Yeah,
Um,
I do too.
and so, no, that's our
And
long-winded
I
way of
kind of feel the
saying
same way about Brad White. And I know a lot of people have been
yeah.
saying that White might get a head coaching job, but the way he's looked the last few weeks, that's kind of on the down low right now, I would think.
It is, but, look at Matt House, Brad. Complete stud. Probably was the defensive coordinator of the best defense in Kentucky football history. It's definitely the best defense of the Mark Stoops era with Josh Allen, right? And LSU this year, defense has been absolutely awful.
The
Matt House.
defense has not looked good under Matt House this year, to be honest.
Anybody can have clunkers.
Yeah.
Anybody can have clunkers. Sometimes
And
it
you're
seems
right
like,
about that.
yeah.
LSU's defense has absolutely been their Achilles heel this year, for sure.
John asked, are we going to the portal next year for QB? Or are we going with the freshman coming in? I would say we're almost certainly going to go look for a starting quarterback in the portal. Now, we are going to have Cutter Boley, but I don't think he's going to come and be the starter year one.
I think that we will look at the portal and see who's there and see if there's anybody interested. Um, that's just kind of the way that we have done things the last few years. I don't believe that Destin Wade or Kia Sharon is.
No.
I just don't believe that they are the guys. And the reason why I say that is this. You take a game like the Georgia game or maybe one of the early games or something. If you felt like that Destin Wade was going to be the guy and he was going to be your next QB, wouldn't you get him in some of those couple of early games? Wouldn't you
I
get him in?
absolutely think
Wouldn't
so.
you get him in against Georgia and let him play the entire fourth quarter? Because against a good team that you're down 40 damn points at, I mean, the entire fourth quarter. I mean, there are signs to me that says these guys aren't ready.
Yep.
So
I
those
absolutely
are
agree
my
with
takes.
you.
I know that some people can have different opinions and all that good stuff. So I realize that. If you do, tell me in the comments. We'll talk about it. Give us a call. He put the
Yeah.
phone number up. Give us a call. We'll talk about it. But I do think that, and I'm not saying that they won't be given a chance. I think they will be given a chance in the spring next year. Destin Wade,
Oh,
Kyler
yeah, they'll be
Sherry,
given a chance for sure. Yeah.
they'll be given a chance in the spring next year.
Yeah. But no, I don't think, well, and we got Cutter Boley coming in, right? I mean, he's going to be a
Right, we
stud long
do, but
term,
you're
but he's
talking
not
about
going to come in and
you're
start.
talking about a true freshman that really was supposed to be a senior in high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a
So no, he's going to
2025.
be,
He was a 2025 kid that reclassified to 2024 class.
but Boley's going to be more of a long term project for sure. So I would say we almost certainly go to the portal for that. But now you look ahead, you go to miss.
Redshirt next year, and you still get 4 years for, um, for Cutter Boley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, well, we're gonna go ahead and kind of do a last call for calls here. 502-234-1504. I know everybody's probably bummed, about the loss.
Listen. I said what I said. If those were the guys, I think you get them in the game. You get them game reps.
I agree with that. Yeah, I absolutely agree with Brad there. But yeah, we'll sort of do a last call for calls, 502-234-1504. And otherwise, Brad, we're looking ahead. to the rest of the season. I think he can certainly win.
Jeremy kind of agrees with some of the things that I've been saying there, so I was just reading it. Sorry, and
Oh
looking
yeah, no,
there.
you're fine.
Jeremy, what
Yeah,
was there?
he says I agree. If we do win 8 games this season, it's a success, and we have a great, if not the best, class on defense we've ever had, and things will be looking up for the future. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Jeremy. And so it's not all doom and gloom.
Now,
You
if
know,
we lose a few of these games and lose some of our class and all that, then maybe Stoops has hit his ceiling. I'm not saying for sure one way or another right now, but I know this. There is still a chance to hold this together and bring in possibly one of the greatest defensive classes that we've ever had.
yep.
You put that into a front seven in a couple of years, and maybe we can get to that next level that we all want to get to and win some of these damn games.
Yep.
Because I want to win them just as bad as y'all do, I promise.
Yep. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
we look ahead, I think Mississippi State, like we said, Brad, even though it's in Starkville, it is a very winnable game. That's the game that we can win. And then,
like I said, if we play 80% of the offense we played tonight, we beat Mississippi State next week.
Well, then talking about Alabama, John's right on cue here. He says we're going to shock everyone and beat Alabama. You heard it here first. Write it down. I'm an optimistic guy. I mean, Brad, it's not insane. It's not insane. It's not like
Alabama has had to struggle this year, come from behind a couple of times. I mean, they're not the Alabama of old that we know.
Yeah. We came into this game saying, man, if we lose this game, we might lose out the rest of the year. But we lost this game in a way that leaves me, Brad, feeling sort of optimistic, oddly. And I think we go 8, I think 8-4, 7-5, 8-4 is very, very plausible moving forward.
I think so. I mean, the like I said, I just don't see if we're even at 80% of the offense we had tonight. I don't see how we win. We don't win at Starkville. Then we come back and we play Bama. That's what John Cornett there was saying. We get them at home. I mean, who knows? I think that if we can compete like we did tonight, it'll definitely be a competitive game. If we play like we did tonight, it'll definitely be a competitive game. Then we play a really bad South Carolina team. They're not any good either.
What would you
listen, guys? They're 2-6 South Carolina after today.
And John Cornett says beating Louisville.
If we can beat, Loserville
down emojis.
I don't even like saying their name, to be quite honest with you. But if we can beat them, which we should in Brom's first year with Leary and these receivers and Ray Davis, there's at least 8 wins and hold this class together, like I said, and maybe in a year or two, we do get to that level. We're just not, I mean, we're not quite there yet. We're close.
Yeah, we're close.
We're just not quite there. Close. Now, I'm going to be the first here to tell you, if we still look this same way 2 years from now, and we're going on 3-game losing skids, and we're still losing to the Georgias, the Missouris, and the Tennessees of the SEC, and we still look this same way 2 years from now, then maybe we do need to look. Maybe he has hit his ceiling, and maybe we do need to look a little further to build us more to what we want.
But that's not the case right now, for sure.
I said 2 years from now.
Yeah, 2 years from now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, Louisville. Speaking of Louisville, they shut out Duke today, man. Did that surprise you at all? I know the
quarterback
one kid didn't play.
Riley Leonard is a stud, and he got hurt again last week. And it doesn't with Leonard out, it doesn't surprise me. I actually, in my game day pick'ems last night on College Sportscast, we did it on Friday this week. I actually said that. I said if Leonard plays, I'm picking Duke in the spread. If
Yeah.
Leonard doesn't play, then I'm picking the other one.
Right. Right.
Loserville.
Yeah. Loserville.
Yeah.
But we talked about South Carolina. Rather 2-6.
And terrible. Guys, they're terrible.
When do you,
Mississippi
I mean,
State's like that too.
do you think Beamer gets through the rest of the season without being fired? I mean, they're not gonna take that.
They got us left. They got Clemson left. I don't think they played Missouri. Has South Carolina?
Well, they're not beating Missouri, and I know
Clemson's
I don't think
they played Missouri either. I don't believe.
I know Clemson's not great this year, but the games they've lost, they could have won, and I don't think South Carolina's beating Clemson.
They could beat Clemson because Clemson's 4-4, not looking great.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be an easy game for them.
No,
I mean for sure. They got us, they got Clemson, and I do not believe that they have played Missouri. And they're 2-6. They only got 4 games left. So I think they're.
Oh wait, they did. I think they did play Missouri. They just played Missouri last week, actually, and they lost. So
they did.
Yeah, they played at Missouri. That's when Beamer kicked the brick wall or whatever and broke his foot.
No. That was Florida.
That was Florida?
Yeah, that was the Florida game, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure that Carolina has played. Yeah, Claude says they did last week and got whooped. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe they have played Missouri then. Maybe I'm wrong. I was thinking the Beamer kick was the Florida game when they come back and beat them 41-39.
Jeremy says, if our defense from the beginning of the season and our offense plays like they did tonight, then the sky's the limit. We could win out, possibly. I'm hoping for that, and that would almost guarantee us to lock up next year's class and some extras. Go Big Blue. Yeah. And Tennessee at Missouri will lose, and Georgia will beat Tennessee. John Cornett says, yeah. I would probably agree with that. And so, guys, it's another frustrating loss. I know. But what's another frustrating loss to Tennessee at this point, Brad? It's like dime a dozen,
You have no idea, guys. I want to do the K-Wood talk so bad.
Yes.
No idea.
But yeah, going back to do you think Beamer is out after this season?
So my initial reaction is no. I think that he will get the start of next year because
they had a great year last year,
and he has put together a pretty good recruiting class this time. So if that doesn't fall apart, I think he'll get one more year with this recruiting class. I think this is his 3rd year.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So he will go into his 4th season, I think, with this class. But I'm going to tell you right now, if he starts out bad next year, I don't think he'll make it through the season. I really don't. If he's setting 2-6 next year,
no,
he's not making it through the season.
No, I agree with that. Well, we'll try to stay positive, Brad. I'm oddly positive after this game, and I think we can still have a decent year. If we go 8-4 and win a bowl game, that's still on the table, and that's still. I don't say it's a great season. I don't know if it meets my expectations necessarily, but it's fine. I mean, I think I would be satisfied with that. 8-4 in a bowl win. I mean, can you go, Brad? What do you think's realistic for a bowl? Do you go 8-4, go to the Outback Bowl, or do you think you have to have a better record for that?
Probably, and the reason why I'm going to say is because I think so. To get the Outback Bowl or the Citrus Bowl that we've been to a couple of times, you have to be in that 4th or 5th range of the SEC.
I don't know if we're getting the Citrus Bowl.
So those you have to be in the 4th or 5th range. So you got Georgia and you got Alabama, You got Tennessee that's ahead of us. You got Missouri that's ahead of us now. You've got LSU and Mississippi that's probably going to be ahead of us at the end of the season. So, we're setting at 7 or 8 in the SEC.
So you still think you go to like a Music City Liberty Bowl, even if you're sitting at 8-4? I just don't want to play in the Music City Bowl. We played the damn Music City Bowl
I know.
like
But I would
75,000
rather play
times.
in the Music City Bowl than the darn Birmingham Bowl or whatever.
The
The Liberty Bowl sucks too, guys.
The Liberty Bowl does suck.
The
You know
Liberty
what
Bowl
else sucks is the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Louisiana.
That
That really
Birmingham Bowl,
sucks.
I don't know if you guys, that thing was horrible.
Dude, who did we play? And then we played Pitt in that. Is that
I
right?
think so. That thing was
That was Joker, one of Joker's years, right? That we played in the
That's
No.
the only damn one he had that had a
Well,
bowl.
no, that was the BBVA Compass Bowl. That's when we played Pitt. I remember that now. Yeah, I don't really care. Sign me up for Liberty Bowl. That's fine. I don't want to go to the stupid Music City Bowl again.
Well,
That
I
is
kind of like the Music City Bowl because I live an hour from Nashville and I can go
Well,
there.
yeah. I just feel like we've gone to it like so many times. It's
So,
just like I don't
as a
want to do it
fan, for
anymore.
me, I kind of like going to the Music City Bowl.
Yeah.
Listen, if we can't get to a New Year's Six Bowl or we can't get to a New Year's Day Bowl like the Outback or the Citrus, if I had to choose another one, I would choose the Music City Bowl. The rest of them aren't worth a crap. Not really.
None of them are. Yeah. But Belk Bowl wasn't bad. Charlotte.
Yeah.
Gator Bowl. I mean, could you go to the Gator Bowl? Is that on the?
Yeah, the Gator Bowl. The 8-4 might get Kentucky to the Gator Bowl, maybe.
I mean, I would take a Gator Bowl.
Yeah, Gator Bowl wouldn't be bad.
But
I would take that over Music City, the Gator Bowl.
So what do you think is the best scenario for a bowl? Like, let's say, again, let's just think best case scenario here. I think all the rest of the games that you play, you'll probably be favored in, or at least it'll be a toss-up, except for Alabama.
Except for Bama. Yeah.
So let's say you win the games you're supposed to and you upset Alabama at home on Senior Day. You sit at 9-3 at that point.
Game, it's at their place.
Yeah.
They're going to have a good record because they ain't played nobody.
Yeah.
And so they might be favored by 2 or 3 points or something.
Right. It'll be a pick 'em game.
Yeah. Maybe.
But yeah. So at that point, you'd be sitting at 9-3 with a win over Bama. At that point, do you think you can sneak into a Citrus Bowl and Outback Bowl?
If we could win out, then yes. Matter of fact, if we could win out, absolutely. We'll get at 9-3, we'll get a New Year's Day Bowl.
Yeah. And that would be, but then, we look back at like this 3-game stretch and just kind of go, damn.
What could have been?
What could have been? And that's what I find myself saying at the end of every Kentucky football season, Brad, is what could have been.
What could have been? Yeah.
And
I get it, guys. I'm a fan just like you guys. So I get it. I really, really do. But it is what it is. And by that, I'm saying this. We have had to increase our level of players and so tonight against Tennessee, just so you guys know, Tennessee has either 43 or 45 what's called blue chippers. Blue chippers are 4 or 5-star players. Kentucky has the most they've ever had since the recruiting rankings come out, and they have 30.
Yeah.
So we're getting close, and all these fans keep talking about, and tonight they're throwing fits, and they were throwing fits against Georgia and in these games. Georgia has like 75 out of 85 players. We have 30. And that's the reason why they still kill us. Okay. So, but we're getting closer and closer. So this class that's coming in, that's the reason why keep talking about this. If we can keep some of the guys that we have and keep getting top 20 classes, instead of 30 in a couple of years, we'll have 40 or 45, because we'll also bring some in through the transfer portal, because we have been every year the last few years.
We've been killing the transfer portal.
Former 4- and 5-star players. We brought in Keyshawn Silver this past year. He was a former
stud.
He was a former 5-star player. He's a 5-star guy. You know, and there's more. I'm just throwing him out because he was a 5-star. All right.
Yep.
So, you know, we will bring some more in through the transfer portal. We're bringing in a good class, you know, through the freshman class. So in a couple of years, maybe we're at 45 or 47 or 50. And then we can start competing against these teams like the Tennessees.
Claude says, Brad, are you going to the Titans game tomorrow?
You have no idea, Clyde. I want to so bad, but I have a show at 3:00.
Man, Levis is starting, right?
I know, you have no idea. I've actually looked at tickets and looked at the prices. I want to go so bad. You have no idea. I really do. I want to go. I can't listen. Nothing would make me happier than to wear my Kentucky stuff in Nashville, Tennessee, and cheer on Will Levis, because I know how bad they hate him.
Well, it would have been
and I would love it nothing more than to go down there and Levis light it up, and just never take. Nobody else takes another snap for the next 10 years. You have no idea.
Jared says, not upset about losing to teams like Georgia and Tennessee. Nobody should be. They have more talent. It just is what it is. However, we have to win out the rest of the season. Stoops has to start winning against the South Carolinas, the Mississippi State, and the Missouris. Yeah, we were just kind of talking about that, Jared. Completely agree. And good to see in the comments.
Missouri's one that's kind of right there with us, and they're getting some 5-star kids. People can say what they want to about Eli Drinkwitz, but the dude can recruit.
Yep. And Jared, if you want to give us a call, man, you can. Phone lines are still open.
Good night, John. Go Cats. Go Big Blue. I appreciate you guys being on with us tonight. And I just want to say good night. It was fun having you on. Please come back by, stop by, and do our show here. We do a post-game show after every game, football. This is our football one. They're doing a different one with his regular host with Caden for basketball and stuff. So
yeah. Eli. So I sort of think Eli Drinkwitz looks like Adam Webb. That is something that I've told Adam that. I think
Drinkwitz looks like a dweeb, really. Like he looks like a nerd.
Well, yeah, and I'm not calling Adam a nerd, but he does look like Eli Drinkwitz. Jeremy Webb says, thanks, guys. Just subscribed and can't wait till the next show. Well, thanks, man.
Check out my show as well, College Sportscast.
Yeah.
Subscribe to that. I have one on YouTube, Facebook.
Yes.
You can find me on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff.
Yes. Check out Brad's show as well. Thanks for stopping in, Jeremy. We appreciate it. But yeah, anybody else that wants to call in, 502-234-1504. Give us a shout. Last call for calls here. I think that's the third time I've said that, but that's okay.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah. Well, Clyde says Josh. Now that is a true comparison. Josh Heupel and Bobby from King of the Hill. Yeah, it's a split image.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a spitting. What do they call it? A spitting image? Yeah.
Cartoon. It absolutely looks just like him.
He does. Yeah. I just pulled a Ryan Lemon there and said a phrase that's not a phrase. Jared Wells says both shows are awesome. Go Big Blue. Well,
Thank
thanks,
you,
Jared.
Jared. I
We
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
He is on ours sometimes as well. So just want to say thanks. And we appreciate all you guys being on with us tonight. I know Clyde's the only one that called in tonight, I think.
Yeah.
That's because there's some of us that's a little upset tonight after a loss, especially
Yeah.
3 in a row and losing to Tennessee. So,
Yeah. Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Both our shows, Talking Kentucky and College Sportscast, are on Facebook, YouTube. Talking Kentucky has Instagram. Then we're both on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the podcast platforms. So be sure to rate us and follow us and star and all the stuff that you do on all those
And the
things, because it
Brad
really
and the
helps.
Brad CS Cast that is on the screen is my Twitter handle as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so check out the and I forgot Talking Kentucky does have Twitter too. So you can find us on that
That's
either.
my Twitter handle, and I do a lot of my posting and stuff on Twitter. I've got the most followers there and stuff. So I do Facebook too, and my Facebook's been growing, so I appreciate that. And we're getting there with it. It for a while it was very stale and wasn't moving, but for the past like 2 months, it's really moved good. So we're getting there with that as well. So
Well, thank you guys very much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you guys back here next Saturday night after we play Mississippi State and hopefully get a win for the first time in about a month.
let's kick their butt in basketball, Clyde.
Yeah, yes, let's just do that, and I think that's a little bit more reasonable. So, well, for Coleman Scott, for Brad Harvey, this has been the Talking Kentucky postgame show, and we'll see you all next time. Go Cats.